Hello class, this is a video tutorial on trigonometric functions, graphing. In this video we'll be looking at an example of graphing the function of cosine. So when it comes to graphing these sorts of functions, we look at each individual component, and I've shown you here what cosine should look like and all the critical points that we should know. So let's get to it. First one we should look at is the mean value. Well, as you can see, there's a line y equals 0 that this original function cycles along, up and down. So we should find what that mean value is for our function here. We can see that it's going to be this value here of -2. So there's going to be a horizontal line at y equals -2, like so. That is the mean value that this function will most likely be cycling along, like this. Very rough sketch. Now, next thing we should look at is, well, depending on what this will be, we should look at this point here. This is a phase shift. We'll just call this shift. And like with all transformations and shifts to the left and right, a plus some value k, or h, whatever it might be, shifts the entire function to the left, whereas if it's a minus of h, it shifts the function to the right. Well, because this is a plus h, it's plus pi on 2, it's an entire shift to the left by a distance of pi on 2. So if I were to graph the regular function with a shift to the left, well, this point of 0, x equals 0, will now be moved to the left. So this point is now going to be here. This point is now going to be here. This point is now going to be here. So you can kind of see a function developing like this. Oops. Like so. Oopsie daisy. Like so. Okay. Everything has been moved to the left by pi on 2. Combine that with the mean value, our function should look something like this right now. Oops, yeah, you can kind of imagine that. Should look something like so. Oops, am I missing a point? Yep, it should be up here, like that. Okay, but because of now the last point that I'm going to address, the amplitude. Amplitude is 2, but more importantly, we should take a look at what the highest y, so the lowest and highest value of y it'll be. Well, the lowest value, if it were the regular function, will be -2. And the highest value will be +2. But because of the phase, the mean value, if we're starting at this point at 1, it's now moved at 0, and this lowest point here would regularly be at -3. It's now going to be moved to -4. So the lowest point of this function is going to be -4, and the highest value is going to be 0. Combining all these points, the shift to the left, the highest and lowest points, and the mean value, pardon me, the function now should look something like this. If it's starting here, it'll be shifted to the left along here, so it would have been here, but the amplitude pushes it out to 0. So the highest point of this is now going to be 0. This highest point here is going to be moved to the left, and this highest point here is now going to be 0. So this is now the highest point. This intercept, which was normally here along the mean value, is now shifted to the left. So this mean value is now going to be here. This lowest point here would have been the lowest point here because it's 1 down. But because of the amplitude, it's now moved 2 down and shifted to the left. So this lowest point here is now at this point. This intercept here, let me erase this just a little bit more. Yes, this intercept here should be along the mean value here, but moved to the left. So it is now going to be here. This highest point has been shifted to the left by the same distance of pi on 2 to here. So using these key points, these critical points, we can sketch a graph that looks like so. Oops. Even though it's a sketch, we should draw it as neatly as we can. That is one cycle, but because the question asks us to graph it from negative pi to 2 pi, this cycle will continue. We can just follow along the pattern, like so. There we go. And that is the function graph of g of x equals 2 cosine of x plus pi on 2 minus 2. Hope to see you in the next video. Best of luck.